to Shadowrun, the Blighted Earth. I'm your host, Loony Shoggoth, the GM. I'm joined by the cast of four again. Rodrigo playing the orcish thug, the gangster Ock. Nicholas playing the doctor troll of the sewers, Jinxter. Bartholomew, Werner Petersborough, played by Leopold, colloquially known as W, and the robotics expert, P.I.N.G., played by Christopher. We're settling back into the Barrens after Ock has summarily beaten the faces in of a couple of Bloodletter gang members who were staked out outside of the abandoned factory, where the team has been dispatched by the Mavericks under the leadership of Daisy Duke to obtain the secret of the formula for a new drug which has hit the market called Horizon. So, Ock having... did you say you ripped the heart out of the poor gentleman you killed?
No, I just stuck my hand through his back and kind of wiggled my fingers on the outside.
You did the old bloody hand wiggle, of course. And I believe you're carrying the two unconscious gang members into the factory as we sweep across to a nearby alleyway where Ping has secluded the matte black bulldog van and is currently activating a drone. What's the model of the drone called?
The McFly Spy.
The McFly Spy. Cool. So, quick questions to get you thinking about your characters, and we're going to start with you, Jinxter. In your phone contacts, Jinxter, who is the number one contact, or the most called? Nicholas?
The most called one would be what's his name? My mentor.
Jinyu?
Yes.
Cool. And
he'd probably be one of the only people I've probably contacted using it.
So when you open up your phone and you go to your contacts, what does Jinyu look like? Do you have an image of him, or is he that black silhouette?
He'd be like the black silhouette. I'm not very good at using these devices. I sort of use them out of necessity rather than because I can. I use them because I have to, sort of thing.
Is your phone troll accessible? And if so, what form does that take?
It is, and it's like larger numbers. Like the buttons have just been slightly increased in size.
So does that mean that the overall phone size is bigger, or that it just has like a extended bottom, as it were?
I would say yeah. Overall, it's bigger.
Okay.
And it's made by the lovely people at
Evo Corporation.
Evo Corp.
Cool. And W.
Yes.
If one were to look at the phone contacts of your comlink, what would they see?
Well, if one was so fortunate to have a glue upon my, phone, one would actually only see 4 or 5 contacts, and each contact denoted only by a single letter. So essentially they would see F, D, S, A, like per line, and no picture either.
Okay. And is this common to you? If you were to have a new phone, would you? Or actually, let me rephrase that. If we were to have seen you 5 years in the past and we looked at your comlink, would it still have had letters, or is this recent since your accident?
You would have found phone names, pictures, birthdays, everything. But now it's just a single letter per person.
Interesting.
Or
And
entity.
And do any of these contacts know you by anything more than a letter?
No. No, not anymore.
Not anymore. And Ping, one would assume that your comlink is the most decadent. What would one see if one looked at the contacts in your comlink?
One would see two names within my contact list. The most called being Amelia, a beautiful dwarf with brown hair with slight blue tinges at the end. And the second being Mike, bartender. I mean, everybody knows Mike, really, in the Barrens, at least from where we are. But at least if you want a drink.
And Mike works at the iBite.
He does
That is
indeed work
correct.
at the iBite.
So the picture for Mike, is it a picture of Mike or is it a picture of the iBite logo?
That is just a picture of his pub.
Cool.
Yeah.
And Ock, as the only person I think we've seen on screen call a contact, if one were to look at the contacts in your comlink, what would they see?
They would see food for me. It's an online delivery. It's an online delivery store, and they do mainly Asian food. And because I quite like it, and I tend to order it under my my real name, Frederick Stout, which is quite funny. The first time the online guy came to deliver to me, because he said that's the worst fake sim I've ever seen, and then he gave me my food. So pretty cool guy.
So Frederick Stout, is that Ock's actual name? Not his fake sim?
No, that's his fake sim.
Okay. You threw me for a loop there.
Frederick Stout, the dwarf.
Oh yeah, of course. Okie dokies. And is there a additional charge from Food for Me for delivering in the Barrens, or are they predominantly like?
Food for Me delivers anywhere.
Ah.
Actually.
So
What makes them such a good company? Because they make money out of everyone, literally everyone.
Awesome. Hang on a moment. Okay, I guess not. Hang on. I feel like I've got a sneeze coming on. I feel it.
Bless you.
It's not. Oh wait, there.
Bless you, my son.
Oh, never mind. Okay.
Bless you, my child.
Did you actually hear about that? There was a news story of a guy who ruptured his throat by holding in a sneeze.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah.
Hard to
Medical professionals apparently say while rupturing your throat is uncommon, it is not impossible, and you are recommended not to hold in sneezes.
Because you might die.
No, I think it's just like, it was really weird. You see the x-ray of it, and obviously as an x-ray you can't really see the cartilage of the throat very well, but it's this like wrong shaping of the shadows underneath his throat. It's weird. Actually, I wonder if it was an x-ray, if it's not some other sort of scan. Anyway. W, you possess a item, peculiar and powerful. What form does it take?
The item that I possess is a pendant.
And is it on you at this time?
Always.
Interesting. Okay, so as Ock strides towards the factory, the pillars of noxious smoke climbing out of it, the rain continues to beat down, and the lightning storm rages in the distance. The ruined buildings of the Barrens lie broken all around, and small puddles lie in entranceways and cracked roofs. In the back of the black bulldog, we see Ping fiddling with the fine wires of this McFly spy drone. So, what would you like to do, Ping?
I would like to place the McFly spy on top of the van as a point for it to take off from.
Okay.
Then sitting back into the driver's seat, plug my deck in, and set the drone to fly towards the factory.
Cool. Do you have any noise reduction from your control rig? From your RCC, your command console?
Since the only program I will be running is the stealth program, I will put 2 points from it into noise reduction.
Cool. So in the Barrens, the reception is not the best, as surrounded as you are by all the metal and concrete, and the static dead zones created by the slapdash nature of the matrix here. Regardless of this, your RCC manages to cut through the short-range interference, and the McFly spy drone lifts off from the Bulldog with a slight buzz. Could you please make a stealth roll for the McFly drone? As I am assuming you send it through the conditions and towards the factory.
Mm-hmm. Let me just grab the thing for it. Oh, that's your perception. Nice.
I know.
Stealth plus... No, that's jumped in.
It should just be the
Pilot
pilot plus stealth, yeah.
For which this vehicle has a pilot of 3 and a stealth of 1, so 4 die.
Excellent. Right. So the fine individuals of...
One.
Excellent. The fine individuals that guard the factory, most of them have been beaten up or are inside, and those that are inside the abandoned factory pay little heed to the buzzing that is silenced by the cacophonous roar of the thunder in the distance. Your fly drone, having 1 success to the 0 of the thugs, shows little problem in making its way inside. So as the McFly drone lands in the factory and squeezes in through a broken window on the level above, you see Ock carrying 2 unconscious bodies walking through the front doors, and you're able to see this transmitted back to you in somewhat grainy real time. So, Ock.
I turn to the 2 others in the van and I say, "Your visuals are knock."
Cool. Oh, as a point, Ock, I'm assuming you don't have AR glasses.
No.
Okay. Comlinks being how they are, unless there's a hacker in the area, if you had AR glasses, thing for the future, you would be able to literally just be in contact with your team at all time by them like sending little onboard visuals to you. But as that's not the case, you do not know the status of your comrades, but are confident that you're more than man enough for the job, or orc enough for the job. And you walk boldly into the factory and are confronted by another trio of rough and ready customers wearing, kind of smocks or aprons. They're thick, rough red leather, and they extend down to their ankles. And you can see they're sitting around playing some kind of card game on the top of it's like a cargo crate. It's battered and dented, and you can see the faded stencil of the Mitsuhama Corporation on the side. As you come in, they look up with some alarm. I'm assuming you're not sneaking through the front door with a pair of unconscious bodies. Yep, I assumed as much. I just wanted to check. As they see you come in, they quickly pick up what looked like a collection of farm tools made from scrap iron, scythes and sickles, wicked curved weaponry. And the largest fellow, who stands easily a good 4 inches above the other two, has a thick, crimson beard. It's not ginger. It looks like it's been dyed somehow. He's shaved head, and you can see tattoos going back all the way across his scalp. He looks over to you, and he says, "Oh, what the fuck? You've got 5 seconds to tell me what your business is before we cut you to shreds."
I'm your new recruit. I leave it at that.
Okay. So he sees you with the pair of his oppos underhand, and you can see that moment where he begins lowering the curved metal in his hand, but his other hand is lingering near his gun belt, where a large pistol is holstered. And then he settles on an answer and says, "Right, what's your name?"
Name's Uck.
"And what can you do other than beating up those shits?"
And then Rod was stumped.
I can protect merchandise. I know the streets. I can sell, although that's not my strong point. I know trade routes. I know the underground pretty well.
Fancy
But
yourself a
my-
bit of a fixer, do you? I ain't looking for someone who is smart.
Mostly beat up people. That's what I like doing. The other stuff are just extras, honestly.
Right. And the shaved-headed individual turns to one of the men he's been playing cards with and says, "Frank, show this guy the squat." And he puts his weapon on his belt, kind of lanky-looking dude with very long arms. He moves up to you and says, "All right, then, Knock. Let me show you where we can kip, yeah?"
All right.
Don't worry about Eddie.
I have the two guys. Do I see some chairs to put them on?
Frank seems to suggest that you should bring them along and just dump them on their cots.
Oh, okay. I bring them along.
Cool. And someone has
no
got
one
me coming
questions-
through there. Hang on. Chris.
Has the rain washed off my arm, or is there still blood on my right arm?
Oh yeah, there's your entire sleeve is dyed in it. Chris, could you do me a favor and
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
mute it? I'm hearing myself twice. There we go. Nope, still there. There we go. Right. No, there's still blood dripping down your arm and onto the floor. I mean, it's watery from the heavy downpour that's falling outside, but it's still noticeable. Anyway, Frank is this long, lanky individual, and he ushers you to follow him, and you walk through the dilapidated foundations of this factory and into what was probably a storage room. There are racks going back for about good 30 meters or so, but most of the racks have been pushed to the far end of the room, and they've been replaced with sleeping bags, kind of rough foam mattresses. The whole place kind of has that odor of matted sweat of human bodies living too long together. You see in this room a couple more individuals, including an orc who's stripped from the waist up. He's got an impressive array of muscle and scars, and he currently looks to be sharpening a very long, kind of looks like a short sword, like a Roman gladius. The classic. The classic one you would see in the movies, short, straight blade. And Frank gestures to the cots and says, "Home, sweet home. Pick whichever one you like. Ok, you got a piece?"
I drop the two guys onto some cots, and then and then I kind of look at the dog tags I have or I took or whatever from the other guy.
So you pull out his comlink. That's the identification he would have. Yep.
Where'd this guy stay?
So the guy looks at the nondescript comlink, says, "Oh," and then he takes a moment, looks at the two bodies you're holding, as it were. He says, "Crawley? Is he not coming back?"
Nah, he took out a gun in a fist fight.
Frank looks at you, and you see a mixture of like fear and anger in his eyes, and he says, "Crawley owed me money. How am I going to collect it now, Ok?" He points a finger at you accusatorily.
I kind of like straighten up all the way. How tall is he?
Oh, Frank, he's quite long and lanky, so he's probably still about a head shorter than you. Your orcish heritage giving you a considerable advantage.
I kind of stretch all the way up, and I look down on him, and I have a very serious face.
He holds up his hands and says, "Oi, chummer, no sweat. It's look, you give me that comlink. I can probably pawn that, cover the debt. No need for any roughhousing."
I give him the comlink.
And he takes it from you with an oily smile and says, "See, we're all men of business here, Ok. Look, you get some kip. If it's true you bested these three louts head on, I reckon Eddie's going to have work for you. Yeah? Try and keep me alive, eh?" And he gives you a wink.
I give him a smile. Ha! I can do that myself. And,
Okay.
And I just sit. But what's the answer to my first question?
What was the first question?
Where'd this guy stay?
Frank looks confused for a bit, and then goes, "Oh, Crawley, he slept there." And you see like this double-sized roll of foam mattresses with what look like silk sheets, heavily stained, but nonetheless a surprising quality. And they're like sprawled out in a kind of cushion-like pavilion in one of the corners of the room near the entrance.
Ooh, I kind of give him another look. Well, I guess that's mine now. And I go and I lie in it.
Okay. So as you lie down, we zoom out from you and into the insectoid eyes of a spy drone. So, Ping, as you watch the scene unfold before you, the flies unnoticed by the occupants of this factory, and at leisure to roam. What do you want to do with it?
At the moment, I think probably start to scout out the building a bit, see if there is, per se, a laboratory around.
Okay. So if you could give me a pilot plus clear sight roll for the drone.
Since I didn't load up the clear sight program, it'll just be 3.
Okay. Cool.
No, none.
So you scout around with the drone, and you're able to determine that there are several areas accessible to the drone from the outside through broken windows or ajar doorways. There is the main factory complex. You spot a couple of the Bloodletter gang members packaging up some nondescript white powder you assume to be the Horizon drug, and they're like cutting it with various things and sealing it into little clear bags. They're wearing face protection, like those little gas masks you get if you're a builder who works with power saws. And at one point you spot a man coming out of a room in the northeastern quadrant of this abandoned factory, but the McFly is not able to get a look in, as it were. Its program senses the opening and begins to move in that direction, but the door shuts before the fly manages to get across. You can also see that from the main interior factory, there is a chained and padlocked door in the northwestern quadrant of the factory.
Okay. Focusing back out from the drone for a moment, I pull up a quick map and note down the door that the man came out from, the building on a map, as well as the padlocked door. I look to the others and I say, I think that the lab's probably going to be in one of these two locations. I might be wrong. I've still got a bit more scouting to do, but should I let Ock know, or shall we leave him to sort of
Leave him
scout out a bit more?
him to his business.
Okay. Right, I'll continue scouting then until I find something more proof positive.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you continue
me and what's his face, Bartholomew, just like playing some card game in the back of the van or something.
Yes.
just sitting there like, yep, just keep doing what you're doing.
Do you guys have AR glasses, by the way?
No.
I do, I think. Don't I, Bloody? I think I do.
I mean, you tell me. You've got your sheet.
I'm pretty sure I have AR glasses. Yeah, I have AR glasses and AR gloves.
Because, I mean, if you want to watch the show on the McFly Spy, you're quite welcome to.
I watched the show on the McFly Spy whilst also playing cards.
Would you mind narrating to me what's happening?
I narrate to him exactly what's
Thank
happening.
you. Those goggles there make me ill.
Nauseous?
Yes.
You get used to it eventually.
No, I never did, and in my old age, I don't think I will.
Fair enough.
The winds of time chuckle as W's bones creak and fall apart.
Hey, I'm not that old.
Okay.
He says as his back creaks.
I'm only 58.
Jesus.
Okay. So, Ping, the drone, continues scouting the area. You're able to count at least 10 bloodletters moving around inside the interior of the factory. There seem to be the main factory floor with the mechanical arms and conveyor belts. Seems to be where the bloodletter gang members are processing the finished product. The two doors, the chained and padlocked one and the suspicious one from which the man emerged with the product. There's the entrance, which is full of cracked concrete pillars and large loading bays for flatbed trucks, wagons, that kind of thing, export from this place, and the repurposed storeroom off from the entranceway where Frank has shown Ock to, and they are slumbering inside them. The drone does not manage to get a look in to the closed doors, but you can see from the exterior of the building there are lights on in the northeastern quadrant room, and the windows around the top allow your drone a look in enough to know that there is a shape moving around inside there, but the windows aren't clear. They have that kind of like marbling, which means it's indistinct what's going on in there.
Okay. I am going to land the McFly spy on the wall near the door, waiting for an opportunity to try and get it inside.
Cool. W and Jinxter, do you have
Yes.
anything to add to the scouting or any actions you wish to take as this goes on?
Not particularly.
No. I mean, we're not really suited for this, so this is their job, and then when we get into a fight or someone needs healing, I think then I shall be useful, but until then, I'm happy to let them do their job.
Okay, so
I
we
took an impact of his neck. I need healing.
I mean, I ain't coming out. Like that you're asking too much.
so we cut back to the interior, Ok, and as you lie on your as you lie on the mattress, formerly owned by Crawler, the now deceased, the orc that's sharpening his blade finishes and sheathes it in a rough cloth sheath before turning his attention to you. And he says, mate, you're new. Didn't escape my notice.
You're gonna be someone's prison, bitch. Oh no.
Name's Uck. Who's you?
Eyes me.
Flies me. First time I've heard a name that strange.
Oh, my name?
Meet you.
No, name's Bika.
Ah, Bika. Alright.
No, Bika.
Bika! That's a better name.
So,
And,
Ok,
yeah,
who pulled you?
I did.
You? You chose?
Yeah.
Oh,
Need
Why?
to work.
you in it for the... So you're not... And he taps his nose as though to suggest you're not a junkie.
Ah, nah. Can't consume when you sell. Know what I mean?
He nods and says, aye, you'd end up in the farm that way anyway.
Farm.
Aye. Well, if you ain't got, muscles, you ain't use, you end up in the farm.
There's a farm here? I didn't know. Cool.
Not a farm, no. It's, you're sold one way or another. But I guess you're selling your skills rather than your body. And he, grins at you.
Well, in a way, I do sell my body.
He looks confused and says, you do?
Yeah. I mean, if someone shoots me for the work I'm doing, technically selling my body. Just not in that way.
Alright. So you knock off Crawler then?
Yeah. Son of a bitch took a gun in a fist fight. Had it coming.
If you took a gun in a fist fight, why you ain't dead?
Cause and I hit my chest. I'm strong like that.
He taps his head, indicating your helmet, and says, are you dented under there?
Yeah. What makes me, and I kind of flex, extra strong. Makes me not care when I shove my arm through someone's face. Gotta have a few screw looses. Yeah.
So, Bika
Bika.
gives you the up nod and says, oh, I'm a bloodletter. Born and raised. We're gonna show these other gangs we mean business. They used to look down on us, not anymore.
Yeah.
Management changes. People's attitudes change. You start winning. And then they look at you the right way. Oh, I will have plenty of money. The Wiz is bringing that in.
How's he doing that? Through the farm?
I guess. Nah, it's the Riz, man. Big seller. Oh, we're gonna push the other guys out of the market. We gotta. And he looks really pleased with himself. We got a monopoly. And you know what they say about monopolies?
They're very mono.
No, they say fuck the corporations. That's what they say about monopolies.
Oh, cool! I didn't know that.
Cool.
Well, if any schmuck tries and get in the way of our monopoly, I'll introduce them to my right and my left.
He looks confused again and says, "You carrying?"
I always carry, and I flex.
He chuckles in a snooty, derisive way, like, and then looks down and starts loading bullets into his gun. He very pointedly starts loading, and then halfway through loading just looks up at you and maintains eye contact and keeps doing it. You get the feeling that he feels that he's being very impressive.
And I'm like, what gun's that? What gun is that? Is it just a standard pistol?
He holds it up and says, "This is Browning, man. Ultra high power. Chambered in 5082." And he smirks broadly, showing tusks.
I kind of get up. I kind of put out my chest and shoot me.
He looks at you. He looks at you and says, "It ain't worth the bullet.
Oh, man.
I'll save that for some other man, eh? Besides, one you don't take now is one you can take for me." And he grins. "I'm sure Eddie will have a use for you."
Alright. Sounds good.
Cool. So, Ping, could you make a edge roll, please?
Is he the only one here, Blighted?
There's a guy sleeping, but he's the only conscious person in the room with you.
Okay.
And there's the two unconscious people you dumped.
God damn it,
There's a human sleeping in the far end near the shelving. There's the orc beaker, and then there's the two unconscious bodies, as it were. Alright. So, Ping, could you make for me an edge roll? Cool. So, time goes by, and the door leading to the northeast does not open, meaning that your fly McSpy sits there, unattended, reporting back, and nothing major changes. Outside, you see a bike roll up towards the factory, and there's a dude on the back wearing this thick black and red coat. He drives straight up to the factory, driving over the body, which since has been looted by various street scum. And you see him he reaches the body, and something's amiss. He pulls out his gun, starts moving all 007 style towards the factory. Do you do anything, occupants of the van?
I look over to the others and I go, "I think Ock might be about to be in trouble.
Maybe we should help out somehow."
Let's go.
All right, you lead and I will follow behind.
I'll send him a quick message.
Ping,
Yeah?
what might be useful is if you stay in the van and keep overwatch and instruct us when and where those enemies. So
Aye,
we
aye.
have a full oversight, unless you want to join us in fight, but you will have skills that we do not possess.
That's alright. I'll do this then. I capture a short loop of video of the guy creeping about, and I just forward it to Oxcom.
Okay. So, things that happen first. Jinxter and W, you hop out of the van, and do you make a beeline straight for this guy, or do you have another approach in mind?
I mean, I say to like Bartholomew, I'm just like, I think we should sneak up on him.
I mean, I can dissuade him if you know what I mean.
Let's see how it plays out. We don't want to blow our cover too. Well, we don't want to
You
blow.
are indeed correct.
Yeah. I mean, if he doesn't start shooting up the place, I mean, all's well.
Cool. So, Jinxter and W, if you could roll stealth for me.
Oh shit!
Roll stealth. Where is stealth?
It's sneaking. It's called.
Ah.
I never die.
Oh my god! How the hell did I, as a troll, succeed in stealthing?
So, as you walk up to the factory, Jinxter, you have rolled 2. Bartholomew, you have rolled 0, and this fine gentleman has rolled 0 for his noticing. So, Jinxter, as you approach, you see him like get up to the doorway of the factory, the big kind of iron rebar sliding doors, and he's got his like back up to them, and he's about to like sweep and clear all spy style into the building, when his eyes spot Bartholomew across the blasted tarmac, and he moves his hand up to his finger, locking eyes with Bartholomew. But he doesn't appear to have noticed you, perhaps because you have slunk into the shadows and now stand in a nearby to Bartholomew doorway, hidden by the broken concrete. Bartholomew, what do you do as this individual does the universal shh?
I mean, he does this to me.
Yeah, like he's about to like sweep and clear into the building, and he sees you, and he like puts his finger to his lips, locking eyes with you. What do you do?
I do what I'm best at. Absolutely nothing.
Okay. He detaches from the factory and begins like hustling over to you in a kind of crouched, low manner. It appears like he doesn't want to be spotted by anyone, and he's like hustling towards you. Do you do anything?
I invite movement into cover so we can be. Obviously, he's going to go in guns blazing, so I ghost somewhere very hidden from the factory view.
So you like direct him into the nearby crack of a building. Okay, so he comes up and passes by Jinxter, not realizing you're now behind him, and follows Bartholomew through the crack of a wall into the interior of this ruined building. And when he gets there, he looks at you, Bartholomew, and goes, "What happened here?"
Could you be more specific with what event you're referring to?
Dead man on the concrete. What happened?
Well, I wasn't there when that happened. When I moved around the corner and started approaching here, I saw the man already dead.
He raises his gun, like just enough that it's now pointing at you, and says, "I don't believe you. You saw something. Tell me."
I do not think that you would like to point this gun at me, sir.
Can I, at this point, because I'm assuming I don't need to keep rolling stealth, can I just like, I'm behind him?
Yep.
Okay.
Your shadow looms over him, and because he's too cool to notice, he does not realize you're there and continues to threaten Bartholomew.
Sir, I would like you to put this gun down, otherwise we're going to have a less friendly conversation.
Those tattered rags aren't going to stop the bullet from this. Now tell me what really happened here.
It's not me you should worry about, sir.
And at that point, you kind of get the cartoonesque, and his eyes look over his shoulder.
And then at that point I just go, it's me. And then I just
You're
want
looking
to punch,
for-
and I just want to punch him square in the face.
Go for it. So, you've obviously surprised him. Let's find out what happens.
This is when I just
I
want to
think
know.
cinematically this couldn't have gone better.
Cool.
Cinematically, that's beautiful.
So first off, could you click your token and roll an initiative, Jinxter? I have a feeling it's not going to matter because you've surprised this dude, so he's probably not going to get a turn.
Do I get to join the initiative as well?
Yep, roll initiative.
How do I roll initiative again?
If you click
here
your
we go,
token,
this
there
level.
is an initiative button. Surprise
got it.
tests, reaction plus intuition. Do.
Where is that initiative button?
Da. And here we go. There we go. Doop. One success is not enough to beat the threshold, which is 3. Failure means he loses 10 from his first initiative, so we roll initiative for him. So his initiative is 0 for the first round of combat. Excellent. So he doesn't get a turn. Right. So, Jinxter, you act first. This dude turns around and he's like, you say, "Hey, me," and you punch him. Roll it up.
So what do I roll?
Melee attack. Right? That's what you're doing.
Oh, okay. So unarmed combat.
Yep, unarmed combat.
Do I get any situational modifiers?
No. He isn't able to defend because he's surprised, but you get no situational benefit. Cool.
Can I spend an edge to re-roll it?
I don't believe Edge rerolls it. I think you use Edge to push the limit before a fight starts.
You can
okay.
use it to re-roll as well.
Can you?
Yeah.
I'll say yeah, sure, go for it.
Okay. Come on, this is the. Oh.
Did you fail again?
Yeah. The thing is, I'm really actually quite shitty at. Like if I'd hit, he'd have been down, but I can't hit things.
You need to be more agile or more punchy.
Push limit, second chance.
I'm going to be. I think my first upgrade with Carver is going to be getting unarmed combat.
Cool. So what happens in this particular fight is tick off your edge. You swing your fist at him, and he, like in pure surprise, stumbles backwards into Bartholomew. Your fist takes a chunk out of the concrete wall next to him, and we hear his like Adam's apple bob up and down in his throat. Bartholomew, you're next.
I would like to suggest to this man that he should not fight back. Well, no, not with words.
With a bit of magic, go for it.
With a bit of magic. I'm going to go force... 4? 4? 5?
I believe.
The maximum can do is 12, right?
Twice your magic.
Yeah.
So 12.
Cool.
We'll go simple. I'm going to go 5. I don't want to drain myself.
Okie dokies. Roll up the spell.
2 successes. Drain resist 1, so take 3 drain.
Cool. You take 3 drain, and that is stun. So mark 3 stun. And you want to suggest to this fella not to fight back.
No, this is straight up mind control. Like, don't fight back.
It's a control thoughts.
Oh, wait, it doesn't have. Oh, yeah. It just like my name is too long, but it's control thoughts. Yeah.
Yep. Which he resists.
Or does he?
He resists with logic and willpower.
He resists nothing.
Logic and willpower. Cool. Logic and willpower. So.
Come on, fail.
Cool. So he fails with 1 net success. You now control his mind. So your tendrils of magic slip into his psyche, and you feel his body relinquish control to you. And then Jinxter, it's your turn again.
I just want to punch him again.
Go for it.
This time, hopefully passing. Yay!
You succeed. You hit him. What's your strength?
9?
So you hit him for 11.
8. It's 8. Sorry.
8. So you hit him for 10 damage, which you will obviously resist with
He can't because he's mind controlled.
with his armor.
Oh, okay.
So his armor soaks a considerable 7 of it, and you end up hitting him for 3. Cool. Everyone roll initiatives again. So click your token, click the initiative. Jinxter, you've got a fairly impressive initiative. Right, so on this fine fellow's turn, he will attempt to resist the fact that he is mind controlled. Which is logic plus willpower.
And he has to beat the 2 again?
He has to beat the 1. With a dice pool penalty equal to the spell's force. Oh, actually, he has... What force did you say the spell was?
5.
He has no chance of resisting. He has -1 for his injury, -5 from the force of your spell. So, hang on. Mental.
We are, I agree.
A complex action on their turn to resist by making a logic plus willpower test with a dice pool penalty equal to the spell's force. Yep, cool. So essentially, there is no way for this single combatant to best you now that you have complete control of his mind. So initiative is rendered moot.
Can I just say like Neil?
Neo?
Neil, like to the guy.
Oh, Neil! So Jinxter socks him in the face, and Jinxter, you see an unsettling sight as you punch this dude in the face, and his eyes scream panic, but his body doesn't move, and he just slowly lowers himself onto his knees.
I'll be honest with you, Bartholomew. That is the single most creepy thing I have ever seen.
Well, pay no mind to that. Now that we have him under control, I can maybe probe his mind, or suggest that we time up first.
Just remind me. Just remind me never to get on your bad side.
But don't worry, I'll remind you yourself.
What?
In the butt.
You heard me.
Yeah, I did, which is why I'm scared.
Let us tie this fool up, or
Let's bring him back to the van.
Yeah, I mentally suggest to the man that he should walk back to the van with us willingly.
He stands and says, "Well, right. I think I'll accompany you fine folks to your van."
Excellent.
And you see him holster his gun and say, "After you." Sure. He takes out the gun and flips it over in his hand and passes it to you, Jinxter.
Okay. What gun do I now have?
It's a Browning Ultra Power.
Awesome. Okay, what's the stats on a Browning Ultra Power?
You can look them up in your own time. So he motions for you to go first, Bartholomew.
I go first.
Cool. And then he follows you, very calmly and politely to the van, as though of his own accord.
It is of his own accord.
He looks as though he's in complete control of the situation, and nothing at all seems wrong to him.
Mind me, Ark, I think you might have hit him a bit hard.
I mean, I just wanted to make sure that you were safe.
Yes.
Yes.
I am safe, thank you.
That's why I hit him that hard.
Excellent.
Let's go back to the van and tap this fellow and ask him a few poignant questions.
Cool. So you take him back to the van, and he politely opens the door for you. So Ping, from the interior, you probably spot the trio approaching the van, and then the thug, the 007 agent, opens up the rear and smiles politely as Bartholomew and Jinxter get into the rear. And then, willingly it seems, gets in, puts his hands together and sits down politely as you bind him with some restraints. I believe you have some, Ping.
I do indeed have some restraints, but I think at this point I'm not entirely sure what's going on, so I just look over and I'm like,
Ping, say
Wait,
hello to, what's your name?
Jeremy.
Say hello to Jeremy.
Ping, would you mind putting shackles on this man? He had tried to attack us. Well, tried to kill me even.
Did I?
Oh,
Oh,
but
silly, I
it
mistook
wasn't-
you for someone else, I'm sure.
Yes, we're good friends.
Ping, just looking absolutely confused, flips open the glove box and throws back a pair of metal shackles to,
So as
W.
Jinxter says, we're friends, he says, are we? I'm sure I've never met you fine gentlemen in my life. And a look of intense confusion crosses his face, Bartholomew.
I just realized that I can just actually make him talk.
You are able to control his thoughts and thus control his actions by making anything seem as though it was his idea. So if you want to say, hey, we're your friends, mentally to him, he will believe that that was what he just thought.
Well, my friend, I'm sure that you want to tell me everything that you just intended to do, don't you?
He says, friend? Oh, forgive me. I must have taken a knock to the head. Probably when this fine trog slugged me between the jaws. But I've forgotten you all right from my head. No worries. It's still rattling around in here. Look,
I understand.
tell you everything? Well, of course. I've just been scouting out the routes the Bully Boys are going to be bringing down a convoy. We're planning to hit them real soon and take a nice job lot of weapons off of them. Then the Bloodletters are gonna... we're gonna make these streets our own with the money we're getting in from Horizon and the brutality that Eddie the Head brings to the party. It ain't gonna be a problem. I'm so glad you're with us. And he smiles broadly as you see, the bruise on his eyes starting to swell up.
Wait, did he just say he's from the Bully Boys?
No, he just said he's going to take out some of the Bully Boys.
Ah.
Using my sub-vocal mic, I'd just like to say to W, isn't that the gang that Ox from?
Yeah, it is.
I nod.
Jeremy looks confounded and says, oh, I might have to get myself a slap patch. Or maybe a cup of calf, because I done plumb forgot you, friend. And he looks like he's struggling with that intense confusion because he knows you're his friend, but he just can't place you.
Am I pretty much just mentally dominating this guy who can't do anything
So-
about it?
So the spell reads, directing everything the target thinks. He is compelled to obey as though it were his own idea. And by the rules, I can't see a way that he breaks out.
This is so OP. Do you have any questions for this fellow? He would answer freely, of course.
Yeah, just remind us, Jeremy. How long until the convoy shows up to deal with the Bloodletters?
Well, the convoy ain't going to be dealing with the Bloodletters. It's a convoy. Well, I say convoy. It's going to be a flatbed truck owned by the Bully Boys. It's transporting some AK-97s. I think they want to obtain them for stock. I believe they're buying them outside the Barrens from some gang or other. But anyway, loose lips think ships. One of the Bully Boys mentioned to the bartender down at iBite that they're getting some premium merchandise. I think he was trying to float the idea of selling it. But see, being a smart Jeremy, and I am a smart Jeremy, I know where the Bully Boys are bringing this merchandise through. Because they have to avoid certain gangs they got beef with, and of course the blockade down on 96. So there's only so many routes they're going, and I spotted the flatbed truck going out there to grab up the merchandise. I reckon depending on how long a journey they're going outside the Barrens, I can't imagine they want to go too far, otherwise they'll end up running into trouble from the Salish. They're going to be coming back in maybe 3 or 4 hours. We set up a nice ambush, we take out the whole stack, we get those AK-90s, and then we're in business. And he smiles broadly.
That's such a smart plan.
That actually sounds Genius.
He like slaps his thighs and goes, "Ah, shucks, ain't nothing. If Wendy didn't set me up good and proper, Eddie the Head would still be giving me the hard shoulder."
How?
W,
Okay.
Bully boys.
Raiding
The bully boys?
Yeah, raiding the bully boys.
The formula.
How are we gonna make use of this? How can we make use of this? No. Like, I want this to sort of. How are we gonna make use of this, guys?
Of the weapon shipment, or that we have complete control over this guy's mind?
The shipment.
Jeremy, remind me, where did we secure the formula for our latest product?
Oh, the formula? Oh, you ain't with the bloodletters, friend? I shouldn't be talking to you about that. And he like gives you this look like, oh no, I ain't pulling for that one.
I whisper into Bartholomew's ear, we are with the bloodletters. Let him know.
But my friend, we are with the blood letters.
Oh, you are?
From another part of the gang, somewhere else.
He like taps his head as though he's like trying to reset the signal on the television and goes, "Oh man, I took a harder knock than I thought. I assumed because you weren't all wearing colours that you weren't of the part A."
No,
But
we're
of course.
Incognito.
Ah, well, of course, the formula's safe and sound in the head of Wiz. That Mr. Holtz, he is a wizard with the chemicals.
Oh, nice.
I mean, it's too bad about the raw stock, but,
What happened to the raw stock?
well, they get mulched up, don't they?
Oh,
Gotta be made from something.
yeah.
I'm not quite grasping what you mean, but sure.
Well, the formula, well, we didn't have the formula, you see. We were just pumping out Zen. Then Mr. Holtz comes along, and like I say, he's a whiz with the chemicals. He convinces Eddie the Head that there's a change in leadership, takes over, and he's been pumping out narcotics that the customers keep coming back to. I'm surprised it's not like a zombie horde from the movies banging on those gates. Then again, we haven't exactly ramped up production yet. We gotta, extend our reach. And that's where the bully boys come in. Oh man, they got the guns. You better believe they do. But they ain't gonna have them for long. And then he like looks up at Jinxter and says, "Oh man, with you, we could just pick up the truck. I'm so glad our other chapter sent you along."
Yeah. You're gonna need someone with a bit of strength, like me.
Well,
Not to
best we
mention
had was
the
Beaker.
wilds.
Yeah. So where can we find Eddie the Head?
Oh, Eddie the Head, he's just all inside. You haven't met him yet? I
Of
assume
course
that was
we
why
have.
you were... Oh, hang on now. How long you guys been out here? You must have seen who done in Crawley.
We've been in deep cover, one might say.
Deep cover? I didn't know there were an ocean round these parts.
Just let him know it is an ocean. Like every time he comes up with a thing, we can.
This band is below the ocean.
Yeah, don't have a clue. Every time he's just like, "Hey, that doesn't sound quite right." You're just like, "It sounds perfectly fine." Ignore the man behind the curtain.
You were, my good fellow, you were speaking that the Wiz took over, convinced the bosses to let him take over. How did you do that?
Well, he made his head explode.
That's one way of doing it.
I mean, that is rather convincing.
I mean, Eddie the Head was always the lieutenant, and of course Eddie the Head would side with the stronger boss. But Mr. Holtz walked plumb straight up like something out of an infomercial and said, "Boys, I know how to make you money, but first you gotta bow down, you know?" And Eddie said, "Oh no, man. We got our big boss, bigger boss, look at him. He's 6'8". No one going to take him down. And Mr. Holt said, well, how about if I make him bow down, then you bow down? And Eddie the Head said, well, I suppose that works. And then Mr. Holt said, well, okay then. And then Big Boss's head exploded. And now we work for a Big Boss. Well, no, not Big Boss, Mr. Holtz. And Mr. Holtz, well, I guess we kind of work for Eddie the Head. Mr. Holtz leaves the day-to-day running with Eddie. Just as well, really. Mr. Holtz don't look like a rough and ready street type. I reckon he graduated from one of them universities. Don't like to get his hands dirty. Yeah, but, oh my god, the stuff he can do. Have you tried Horizon yet?
No.
You need to, man. Look, why don't we stop chatting in the back of this van and go on inside? I can hook you up, man.
Can I just
If you're a bloodletter, we can all have free samples.
out of character, can I just make a point?
Yeah.
I can make this man shoot himself.
You perfectly can. Except he doesn't have a gun to which with shoot him.
That's so
What if,
ridiculous.
wait. What if you tell him to stop breathing? What
Well, he
happens
can't do
next?
that because that's something he does subconsciously. It doesn't,
I mean, he will, to the best of his ability, hold his breath and at
But
some
then
point
he'll
pass
sigh
out.
and continue breathing. So.
Yeah.
This is what true power feels like, and it's terrifying.
So,
my character's not evil, so.
please never play one of these guys. Your psycher's already bad enough.
I can just see Maycap walking down the street and say,
I know
the
what
man picked up a gun and pointed it at his own head before pulling the trigger.
I know what spell I'm getting next.
No!
So, at this point, Ping just quickly types into her comm link. I suggest we do not go with the gentleman and ensure that this problem is removed. And I send it to Bartholomew and Jinxter.
So wait, can we have just a quick thing? Okay, so he's working for the Bloodletters,
Mhm.
and they're about to raid, or he's planning on raiding a Bully Boys convoy of weapons.
The Bloodletters are planning an attack on a Bully Boy shipment of AK-97s.
Did we ever actually find out when?
In the next, 3 or 4 hours. Jeremy has spotted the truck going out to pick up the weapons, and it's going to be coming back along the same route. So he's planning on going in, telling his boss, and then they're going to go and set up an ambush, attack the truck, take the weapons, and then the Bully Boys are going to have AK-97s, and they're going to be like, booyah, we the biggest gang in town, pew pew pew.
Excuse me, my dear friend.
Certainly, he says.
When the people go on this, when the Bloodletters, us obviously, go on this raid, would the boss go on the raid with you, or would he stay behind?
Well, since Crawley's dead, Eddie would probably have to go with himself. I mean, he probably would have trusted Crawley to do it with a couple of the boys, but I guess he's bit the big one.
I see.
I reckon if we take, half a dozen, we can probably wipe out the Bully Boys. I think there were only 2 or 3 of them actually on the truck itself. Rather hush-hush. Plus, they want to keep their, territory secure, otherwise the Slick Bloods might give them a bit of trouble. They have been rather bulshy ever since the Greddies bit the big one.
Yes.
He smiles jovially. Says, oh, come on, mate. We can't sit in the back of this van forever. It is mental listening to the drumming of that rain on the tin roof. It's like something out of Goodfellas.
I think we should knock him out.
We could, make him do everything, anything. Think of the things we could do.
Guys, we could call the Bully Boys and be like, so these guys are coming to raid you at this and this time, we know because we have an inside man.
And
What
at the
about
condition-
setting up a counter ambush and then we kind of clear out half the rabble?
And also at the condition that they leave the boss alive for us to question.
Well,
And then I do my intrusive mind control shit.
Good idea. Rod, are you contactable? I can't remember.
I am contactable.
He has a comm link. He just doesn't have AR glasses.
Contactable.
So Ok
guy.
is contactable. He's sitting inside the factory, chatting with Beaker, and he has his comm link. So
yeah,
if we want, we can wipe to Ok sitting inside the factory. Your comm link buzzes, and you see a video of a man in bloodletter colours, 007ing his way up to the exterior of the building, pistol drawn, and the message is from Ping, and it's several minutes old now.
I feel like we should contact Ark and then just tell him that, you know, the bully boys are going to be doing this raid, and we should, you know, we need someone to contact in the bully boys.
So in the scene, how would that play out?
So I mean, Ok, you get the video come up on your comm link. What do you do?
And I see all this. They relate to me the information.
No. All you see at the moment is a video of a bloodletter gang member like outside the factory about to go in, and it's from Ping, and it's several minutes old, and you haven't heard, you know, someone
With
kick the door in.
Weapon-drawn 007 style sneaking.
Yeah, man, like someone straight out of the Trids shows.
I stay lying in my bed, honestly, for now.
So we wipe back to the exterior. You're sitting in the van, and you're floating the idea between the three of you that contacting Ok may be a good idea. He doesn't seem to have responded yet.
Oh, do I have to respond?
No, you just got a video. I mean, you have a comm link. If you respond, you respond.
If you don't, you don't.
They were giving you a heads up that there was someone about to enter the factory, but they don't appear to have entered the factory. It's like, hey dude, there's a guy about to breach and clear and kill everyone, and you're like, oh, that was a couple of minutes ago. I haven't heard anything.
So I engage a new video, like I send another video, just saying, oh, we dealt with a guy outside. We need to contact the bully boys. Can you give us send us a number?
Isn't it best I do it?
Yeah, but how are you gonna, like? You can't contact the bully boys inside
in the middle of gang territory that isn't theirs.
So
Yeah,
I'm going to step away from the computer for a bit, and I'll be back. I just need to use the little boys' room. So discuss amongst yourselves. Ok, you were perfectly available to make calls, but be assumed that you are still within the storeroom. So in hearing range of Beaker. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
Yeah.
I will briefly go to the bathroom as well, but feel free to also brainstorm what we can do with a dude I have control over completely.
I have two thoughts as to that.
I'll be guys.
I feel like we should just kill him. No, not kill him, but like knock him out.
Well, no, I have two ideas, because one, we will get paid if we kill all of the bloodletters a bit more.
Oh, that is true. We do get paid more.
In which case, snap his neck. Two, and this is quite a fun one, we send him in to relay his plan of attack or whatever, telling him to forget about us and all that kind of shit, because we're just messing with his brain at the moment. I don't know how well that would turn out.
We could tell him to go in there and shoot up the place.
That would be quite amusing.
Like, that is a genuine thing we could do, and that would, I think, work. Because then it would be bloodletters killing bloodletters.
Yeah. That would be genuinely
Hello.
amusing.
If it's me you're looking for, I'm back.
Okay.
Have you come to a arrangement?
Well, W is still away at the moment.
Did he step away too?
Yes.
In which case, do you guys want to take a 10-minute break?
Sure.
Or a 5-minute break?
5-minute break would be good, because I could also do just nipping to the loop.
because then I can grab a cup of tea. Okay,
Sounds good.
in which case I will do that. So, if you're watching online, we'll be back in 5. Hello, everyone.
Guten Tag.
Hello.
Is everyone back? Do we
I
have
think
Chris and
just
Nick?
stepped away.
Yeah, I'm here.
We have Nick. Do we have Chris? Is that a Chris putting on his headset?
Yeah, that is me. Sorry.
Welcome back, everyone. And let's jump straight back into Shadowrun. Ock, you've received the video evidence and the follow-up documentation that the threat has been dealt with, and I believe the 3 in the van, so Ping, Jinxter, and W, the fine fellow of Jeremy, the spy, agent, secret man, and you were coming to some sort of plan on how to deal with the planned raid on the Bully Boys. So, what's the scope? What you rocking?
We haven't agreed.
Well, I can't make a decision for you guys, so.
So let's zone in with the fine trio in the van, Ping, Jinxter, and W. You somewhat recollect that Ock is engaged with the Bully Boys, or previously was a ganger for them, and you have Jeremy completely under your control, mind controlled and handcuffed. But Ock doesn't seem to have yet responded to your hails. The spy cam is able to lay eyes on Ock, and you can see he is in a bunk, and there is an orc, Beaker, talking to him currently. It's possible that he does not feel safe to discuss a plan with you. In lieu of this,
Can I turn on my comm so it shows images?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to pull out your phone and start, Snapchat recording Beaker, you can go for it.
Oh no! Can I not just send a message on the phone?
Yeah, you can text message.
Oh.
Like it is. Imagine a laptop that's the size of a iPhone nowadays. That's essentially what comlinks are. I mean, if you've got a Metalink, the rating 1, it's pretty shitty, but it can still do everything a modern day phone can.
I send the message. What's the plan? And then I delete it. And then I go to
You delete your history.
Yeah, and then I go to some older messages, and I pretend I have like some backup messages that are like with the lady of the night. So that if anyone asks me who I'm messaging, I send it to the lady of the night.
Let's see if Beaker is particularly caring. Doop, doop. Oh. So, Ock, would you like to resist a judge intentions roll from Beaker? I believe this would be the con skill, which I believe you have 0 in because you have 1 charisma and don't have the skill.
Yep.
You can, however, push the limit with your edge if you want to have a chance at success.
Okay, what would happen? What would happen if I roll, like, let's say 0?
You fail, and something would happen as Beaker would have something suspicious, like what normally happens when.
Would he automatically know that I'm up to something, or would he just be really suspicious?
I mean, he's liable to react how gang members react.
Especially narcotic dealing gang members react.
So pushing the limit adds your edge rating to the test, meaning you'll be rolling a dice pool equal to your edge, and you re-roll any 6s and roll them again.
So what would that? I spend an edge to push the limit? Is that how
Yep.
it is?
It also raises your threshold by not threshold, limit. So you can use it to succeed on things that would normally be out of range for you.
So I get to roll 6 dice because I have 6 edges. Is that it?
Yeah, you have 6 edge?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has Riddick Edge.
Because that is an option for you.
Okay, and it spends an edge, right?
Yeah. Not permanently, just till you get it back.
Yeah. Twice roll 6d6.
You should be able to do it if you click on your token. There's a little tick box for roll with edge. So hang on, if I look at your sheet, you see at the top right of your sheet there's an edge button, and if you click that, you should be able to highlight.
Skills. What is it? What's the skill?
Con. It's in social. But if you click the edge button at the top right of your sheet, next to GM roll.
Okay, edge roll. Okay.
And then you should be able to roll the con, and it should. Hopefully the sheet works. If not, we'll do it manually.
Social. Where is it?
Con, top of, underneath physical, above engineering. Con is the top skill in that.
Roll.
This would be nice to find out if edge rolls work from the sheet. It does. And does it have explosions? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay. So you spend an edge. You get 3 hits on your con to his 4. So you see Beaker eye you as you start texting. And he just kind of goes, "Who are you texting?"
Me missus.
Don't make me laugh. You're single if I ever seen one. Who you really texting?
She ain't my... She's a missus I pay. I kind of chuck in my phone.
So you chuck him your phone and you see him looking through your phone, obviously not just looking at the text that you put it on. And then you see him, his suspicion kind of dies away. And he goes, "Fuck it," and he tosses the phone back to you. He doesn't throw it at you, but he tosses it onto the bed where he is. You seem to have allayed his suspicions with your clever espionage. Meanwhile,
I've got some brains.
Meanwhile, people who aren't having their histories checked, Ock wants to know what the plan is.
Guys, what's the plan?
I'm not quite sure.
Neither am I.
Jeremy looks at you and says, "Wow, the plan is to go knock off these bully boys, take their guns, and lead bloodletters to glory and fame. They're going to be trids made about us. Just you wait, boys."
Jeremy, would you mind waiting just outside the van, please?
Sure thing. And he stands up, steps out of the van.
I'm controlling him, right?
Yeah.
Do not make him do that.
So he stands up, opens the van door, and then you see him extend his leg and just teeter there and says, "Oh, well, hot damn. I don't really want to sit out there." And he closes the door and turns back around and says, "It's much nicer in this van."
Yeah, it is. Sit back down.
He sits down.
I make him sit back down.
What are we gonna do?
Okay.
So
I think we should just go in all guns blazing. Fuck it.
No. I think what we should do is that we should obviously inform the other party that is not the bloodletters of the intent. Then kind of thin out the numbers, Win-win. And then we take on what's left.
I like this plan.
Also, if they all die, that means we get more money.
In the meantime, we should also ensure that the wizard is safe.
Yes, our main mission. Our main mission, of course, is to get the formula.
And he said that's written down in the head of Eddie the Head.
Yes. What does this Eddie the Head look like, Jeremy?
Well, Eddie the Head, he's, I'd say, white Caucasian, about 6'4", bold, crimson, well, I don't know, maybe burgundy beard. He dips it in the blood of our enemies. And he's got these sick tattoos all back along his head. You can't miss him. He's as broad as a barn door and as meat as a sow in heat.
Did you just say he dips his beard in the blood of his enemies?
Well, that's what he likes to tell folks, but I seen him down at the Stuffer's Shack buying a Crimson number 2.
Okay.
You see, the problem with blood is it washes off.
I ping this in a message over to Rod, as in, like, can he see anyone that looks like that?
Can I see it?
So, since you actually have a McFly drone, you would know that he can't see anyone that looks like that, and that you have seen someone that does look like that. The guy that he spoke to when he first entered. Since you have video footage from the McFly spy, I thought you would already know that.
Yeah, no, I just forget that obviously we would have seen that.
I have a third suggestion actually to make. Well, second. We somehow get our good old friend Jeremy to lure Eddie out on his own due to some important but very confidential business. I don't know, a mole inside their bloodhouse. And then we have a little chat with the wizard. Is this something you would have the authority to do, Jeremy? I mean, what are you inside the blood letters?
Oh, I couldn't lure Eddie the head out. He's much too smart for me. He'd break my spine like a twig.
Could you
Mind
lure
you.
somebody out that could?
Well, I suppose Crawley, but he's dead. Nah, I don't think there's much anyone that Eddie really likes other than Crawley. Well, I'll tell you what, because I see the notion you're having here. You're looking for a change of leadership, aren't you? You
Yes.
want to step up this chapter. Well, if you make sure the cards fall right in old Jeremy's direction, I could tell Eddie that, I don't know, that someone were out here looking for trouble. Oh, I know, I could tell him that I found another recruit for the farm. Oh, he likes breaking people, he does. No offense, and he looks at you, Bartholomew, and you see that moment of, he remembers your name, but he can't remember your name. And he's like, no offense, fine, sir, but you look like just the perfect sort of body for the farm. I'm sure I could convince Eddie.
At this point, I sort of recall something he mentioned earlier about heads exploding. W.
Yeah, he's still a wizard, yeah.
You might be of your ilk.
That's
In which
something
case,
I
you
would
might
think.
not have, no offense, the ability to control him as well as others.
Well, you make a very fair point there, but I mean, I do believe that I can put up a fair try.
That's fair. I don't really know how your, well, whatever you call it works, but, yeah.
But the thing is, the strain I might kill myself doing it, so I'd rather not. But if he is such a potent opponent, we might have an issue. I mean, if he just walked in and took charge.
Jeremy, starts, tapping his hands on his knees and, absentmindedly staring at a corner of the van.
I mentally someone stop tapping your hand.
His hands stop, and he just continues staring at the wall, and then looks down at his hands and goes, and crosses them.
Nothing
Question.
really moved that far.
If I made a suggestion to this person who then believes it was his own idea, and then my spell breaks, what would happen?
Say that again?
So my spell says they're compelled to obey as if it was his own idea.
Mm-hmm.
And
That is
if
correct.
I stop the spell, it would still seem like it was his own idea, or would he then realize
So,
it wasn't his own idea?
To him, this all appears as though it makes sense in his head. I mean, obviously he thinks that he's got amnesia because it's the only way any of this matches up with what he previously thought. So he thinks Jinxter knocked him on the head too hard and he forgot you all. When the spell ends, he will be able to notice that he's been mentally controlled or been subject to the spell by the same defense roll that he would have used against the spell. So logic plus willpower roll from him.
But if he failed his logic plus willpower roll, then...
Oh, if he fails the roll to perceive that he's been mentally influenced, he will believe that this entire encounter, though strange and peculiar, was not magical in nature.
That's really fucked up. That's really
And he will
fucked up.
walk free from this place, saying to himself, God, I wish I could remember my good friend... Fuck, what was his name? Shit.
Wow.
That's really evil. I love it.
I've just essentially destroyed someone's like brain and perception of reality.
I need this spell.
I feel bad. I was supposed to be a good character.
Good is subjective. Yeah, good is subjective.
Yeah, but we all know how this is gonna end.
You're cleaning the streets from the bloodletters who are selling drugs to little kids, man.
I think we should just use him, go in, kill them all, capture the guy. Like, we don't need to use the bully boys, I don't think.
Do we have a I mean, obviously, if they plan to attack a rival gang who have literally a weapon shipment, they must be powerful.
We can just... Wait, Blighted, if he told him to forget about the encounter, would he?
I'm not sure that he would be able to do that, because you control someone's thoughts, but if you tell someone to forget something, and they think, right, I'm going to forget this, they don't actually forget it.
That's literally what I told Nick when you were...
I know, but I just wanted Blighted to confirm.
Yeah, I believe there is actually a spell which influences memories.
I don't have that one.
But it's a separate spell, and I would...
about the concept of what we could do is we could get him to follow through the plan, and then some of the bloodletters go to fight the bully boys, and then we take out the leader when they're all gone, or we counter ambush them like Rod said earlier.
Yep, these are all things you could do.
I mean, how many of them are there?
You've counted 10 bloodletters active inside the building.
When we were talking to the lady back at the club, she said there was about 20. And we know that 2 are incapacitated and 1 is dead.
And 1's with us.
And 1 is with us.
But it's still a very good fight. We probably would need the ambush.
Oh, wait. Hey, Jeremy. Could you just, I feel like I've been hit on the head at some point. Could you just remind me where the other chapter is?
He looks at you in complete confusion and says, well, doggone. I guess I've been hit on the head too. The other chapter? I mean, I knows you from the other chapter, but I can't seem to recollect seeing you before.
Yeah, but
it's mighty odd.
It?
No,
I don't know, don't you know?
No, that's...
He literally came up with that in his head.
No, yeah, W told him.
Oh, okay. I missed that.
Right.
Believing your own lies.
I fallen too deep.
Remind me, because I keep forgetting. How many guys do we have these days?
Well, I guess with Crawley dead, 11?
What?
I think that's about a right count.
So actually they're all in there.
I would guess so.
I think we should just kill them all.
I mean, we're what? 1 combatant versus 10.
Well, hell now. Not counting Mr. Holt himself, I guess that makes 12.
Look. 2 of them are knocked out, or is it one of them is? One of them is knocked out. One of them is dead. We've got 1 mind controlled, which we can use to fight with us during the fight.
That's
so that means it's 5v7.
Rock. I do appreciate your bravado, but my ability is not limitless. I cannot make him. I cannot be in a fight and mind control him.
He looks at you dead in the eyes and say, "Ah, friend, you don't need to mind control me."
No, of course not.
And then he does a funny voice and says, "Those Jedi tricks won't work on me," and then chuckles to himself.
This guy's been watching some old threads, man.
I've not. What is he referring to?
Bee-boo,
Tell
bee-boo.
Wilson to know. I don't know what that is.
I don't have a clue. Must be some shitty B-rated movie.
And that's a classic. A
Well,
right old classic.
It's a classic. Why haven't I heard of it?
Okay. Rock, while I agree that you might be capable of fighting more or less, I don't think that we can take on this many people. I do believe that we should indeed outsource the violence to the others.
Yeah, well, that's why we got him man controlled. And also, if we don't involve other people, we can guarantee that the formula sticks with us.
Yeah, whereas if we killed every single one of them, then the formula would be gone, and then
we kill all of them except for that one guy that we can't kill, and then we torture him until he gives us the formula.
You seem to think this could be simple. I mean, if he's so powerful, then I might not be a match for him. Or
we're just assuming that they're powerful. We also assumed that there was 20 of them, but apparently there's only 11.
well,
So
we were told there was 20 of them.
yeah. So how about we just go in, guns blazing, theoretically.
Or, and hear me out, we do the ambush, the counter ambush, and then we take out both of them, and take the weapon shipment and sell it.
I don't think Ock would be fine with that.
I also think you're maybe being a little bit too. You want to talk
ambitious.
about guns blazing? That's baby steps, my friend. Baby steps.
All right,
Okay.
You have much more
Follow
experience
me on
than Marshall,
this one.
so
I think we should communicate with Ock to get him to follow with our plan.
Our plan is to go in all guns blazing and kill them all, apart from the one dude.
Yes.
Good.
that's a really stupid plan.
I don't think it's that stupid.
Okay, right. This is the second option. We contact Ock to follow our plan. Let me finish. We ambush the bully boys and take leadership.
You mean the bloodletters?
Yes, that's why there were air quotation marks there.
Ah.
Jeremy looks confused and says, air quotations? I'm not sure I follow.
Air quotations are a fun thing. You should give them a try sometime. Like, try saying, I like to eat a chicken. Air
I
quotations.
mentally make
Chicken?
sure he
I
doesn't
can't
do
afford
that.
no chicken.
Nobody can.
Oh, and he says, I like to eat chicken, with air quotes around chicken.
Yep. And that would mean it's soy.
Well, ain't everything.
Indeed. See, we're even teaching him.
Well, I don't gonna learn a thing. He smiles broadly, like he's having a good riff with his friends.
Okay. I feel like we should just kill them all. Because we get more money that way.
So
This is why I'm proposing that we get backup.
he smiles at you and says, kill them all? No. If you want to get money, you don't want to be double-crossing the bloodletters. Now, I know we's friends and all, but the real
Jeremy,
money...
They
Yes?
double-crossed you. They abandoned you. They would kill you if they had the chance next time they see you. You were walking into a trap.
So his entire demeanor changes, and he's like, fuck, man. I
What do
knew
you
that
think
Eddie had it
happened
in
to
for me.
Crowley?
I knew they had it in for me. Eddie kept giving me that funny look. I reckon he wanted the bully boys to find me, run me over in their damn truck.
What do you think Eddie did to Crowley, man?
Oh, of course it was fucking Eddie. It's always Eddie.
I
And
feel-
Crowley was the only one that Eddie even liked. Imagine what he's going to do to the rest of us. We need to take him out.
This is so broken. This is a broken spell.
Well, no, because in fairness, like, there is a limit to what we can do. Like, for example, we can't force him to do things outside of our own view, which is frustrating.
Think about it. If we if I let the mind control go and he fails his willpower test, we will literally have turned him against the bloodletters.
Yep.
Yep.
Do you not see how fucked up this is?
Nope.
Nope.
I see no problem at all. There is no spoon.
There is only the Matrix.
Speaking of, I need to get myself a cyber deck.
So, doing Rock and Ping, just FYI, there's a small chance that once I let his mind go, that he will remain thinking what we just told him.
He looks at you and he says, "You keep saying spell, mind control. If I didn't know any better, sir, I would say you were messing with my brain."
But Jeremy, you don't know any better.
But they ain't no magic in this world. Huh.
No, of course
Everyone knows those dragons are just fairy tales made up to scare small children and old wives.
not.
And
And
also,
also,
Yeah.
I have the coolest phrase ever. Don't make a deal with a dragon.
Well, of course, you can't make a deal with someone that ain't there. It's like making a deal with the devil. You're going to end up with your dick in your hand.
That is a very precise terminology that I don't want you to use again.
Well, I'm sorry, Trog. I didn't mean to offend.
And it's troll to you.
Ah, come on. What's a Trog between friends?
I'm gonna hurt you.
calm down, Rock. I think that, mentally, we have already done the damage, okay?
Uh-huh.
He smiles broadly, says,
Right.
and he rubs
Okay,
his
look.
hands together and goes, "So
Am
what's
I-
the
Let's
plan?"
go in. Let's go to get this done. Let's kill them.
Am I getting Ock to tell his friends? Are we going with the ambush plan, or are we going with the head-on plan?
Flip a coin. Roll 1d2. On a 1, we're going with the all guns blazing. On a 2, we're going with the ambush plan. 3, 2, 1. Going in all guns blazing, boys.
Or we could go with the ambush plan.
Leo, we're gonna be here forever.
I think me and Leo are agreed on the ambush.
I agree with, it's the democracy, technically.
But okay, the ambush plan works up until the moment that he realizes that we've been fucking with him for the last 40 minutes.
But he can't break my mind control.
He can once he's out of our sight.
Oh, that's also very true.
Like, he only listens to us as long as you can see him.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Guns a blazing plan it is.
Guns a-blazing.
I see how this is turning out. I'll let Ock know.
Oh, fucking yeah, boys.
Well, would you kindly give this man back his weapon?
Yeah. I hand him his weapon back.
Oh, hot diggity, it's good as new. He says and takes it off you.
By the way, Jeremy, thank you for having this idea of going in guns blazing.
Well, it's the only way, man. We got a van here, drive straight through the front doors and go bye-bye, bye-bye. It's gonna be like a western.
You're so smart.
I know. Ha! You were trying to confuse me with all that wizard mumbo-jumbo, but
You were just too smart for me.
I know, friend. And he, like, pats you on the shoulder.
Oh, we're gonna die. In preparation for this, Blage, can I call upon my spirits to help me?
Certainly.
How do I summon a spirit?
Alright then, so you... First, you need to select a power of summoning and a spirit type.
So the maximum I can go for is 6, right?
It's double your magic.
So 6. Let's go for a force. Let's go force 3. 3 is good, isn't it?
Okay. And what type of spirit are you summoning?
Let's go beast spirit.
Okay. Next up, would you like to prepare yourself to roll an opposed test using summoning plus magic, limited by the force, which is 3, versus the spirit's force, which is 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to roll the one for the monster. Ho 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 ho. Right.
And what do I roll?
Your it's magic plus summoning, I believe. Yeah, summoning plus magic. Limited
So
by
this
the
is to
force.
control the beast.
This is
It's one
to
of your
summon a spirit of beast.
Okay.
Okay, so you rolled one success. You fail. And actually, it rolls the summoning in there with it. That's pretty good. But either way, it's 2 successes. So you take 2 drain. So if you look here, you'll see the
Oh, and drain
drain
resist 2.
2 times
It's
2.
2 times 2.
Right, for 4, and you drain resist 2. So you take 2 stun damage, and it has 2 hits versus your 1 hit. So you fail. So what does this look like?
You did the spirit defense yourself.
Yeah, 2 or 2, either way.
No, you only got a... Oh, yeah, because 5, 6, yeah.
Yeah, buddy. So what does this
call
abortive
upon,
summoning attempt look like?
I call upon the spirits of the land. I begin chanting, and
Oh, more Gwe fight this out.
yeah, and then I get slapped in the face by a mystical.
The winds swirl around you, and you hear a deep rumbling growl echo from the bowels of the world, and your mind shakes and reverberates, and you suddenly see like beads of sweat clouding your vision. It stings your eye, and you flinch momentarily, and the link is gone. Take 2 stun damage.
Okay, I'm gonna instead. Can I now try and summon an earth spirit?
Yeah, go for it.
How do I do that?
So, what force of spirit?
3.
Cool. Make the same roll.
Drain resist. No. Situational modifiers.
Oh, and make sure you put that 2 stun damage into your damage track.
Will do. Force 3. Raise limit.
Cool. So you get 3 successes versus the 1 success of the creature, and you resist all the drain. Okay, so a second time you dig your hands into the bowels of earth and pull from the depths a creature of earth, and it summons before you. So, what does this spirit of earth look like as it forms up?
Quickly, where do I put my Where do I put the damage?
First page of your character sheet. In
I just
stun.
put a 2 there.
Yep.
Okay. This thing, it looks like a troglodyte. So it's got stony, cracked skin, but it has the features of a humanoid. So it has like maybe not 5 fingers. I would say maybe 3 fingers and a thumb. It has a very stony-looking face, and it's got what looks like hair, but is like the roots of the earth, like essentially coming out of the back of its head. And it's quite bulky, looks very tough. That sort of stuff. Yeah.
Okay. So as it forms up from the bowels of the earth, it forms this spiritual link with you, and you know you have it now under your control for 2 services. First up, it is an astral being, but being a spirit, it can coalesce on the physical plane, becoming manifest, which I assume you want it to do, since you're prepping it for a fight. Secondly, I believe you get a power. Blah 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 blah. Spirit basics. Blah 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 blah. Spirit services. Blah blah blah. Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. Optional powers. Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. I know it's here somewhere. There we go. Force 3 and 5 have 1. So you can call a spirit with optional powers if the force you choose is high enough. Since you called a spirit with force 3, it can have one of the following powers: fear, innate spell. Oh wait, hang on, I'm looking at the wrong one. Concealment, confusion, engulf, elemental attack, or fear. So you can pick one of those for this spirit to be possessed of.
What does confusion do?
Confuses shit.
Okay. And fear obviously makes them scared of him.
Yep. Engulf
was engulf?
swallows them whole.
Oh, fucking engulf.
Cool. Excellent. It has astral form, binding, guard, materialization, movement, sapience, and surge. It has a strength of fucking 7, a body of 7. Its agility is only 1, and its reaction is 2. But it has stats and shit. So it's bound to you. What commands do you give it?
I don't have to give the commands immediately.
Yep. So it appears before you, and you hear its voice grumbling in your mind. Master.
Can I tell it to come with me without that being a task?
As default, it will follow you in the astral plane.
Okay. So I say, okay, guys, I'm ready for a fight. Let's go do this. There's just like a troglodyte now next to me in the van.
Jeremy, racks the slide on his pistol.
During
Yeah, buddy?
his summoning ritual, could I have brought the McFly spy back to the van?
Yep, you could have even texted Ock to let him know that you're going to be going loud.
Yeah. Or he gets a 3-word thing. Going in loud.
Can my thing be only an astral projection until I want it to be? So it doesn't unless I want people to see it, they won't see it.
Spirits are inherently astral beings. Materialization for them is a means to an end, not a natural state.
Okay, let's go in, guys. Let's go in. Is everyone else prepared? Load up your guns.
Is the plan a dramatic montage of you getting out of the van, walking across the street? The van drives up to the front doors, which are a loading bay for trucks, and then run out, kick in the door, or drive the van straight through the wall. These are all options, just letting you know.
Well, we could attempt to actually get inside first with Jeremy. Without guns blazing and then pull the weapons on people.
Yeah. We don't have to, we can just walk up because we got Jeremy with us.
Yeah.
Cool. So, your plan, we see the dramatic montage of people, exiting the van. Are your Doberman drones with you, Ping, as you make your way across the street?
This is the thing. If we're not going in guns blazing immediately, then it's going to look pretty suspicious if I'm bringing my 2 little friends.
Well, can't they just be out of sight?
They can, but they're pretty much the only thing that I'll be fighting with. I can be out of sight if you want.
Well, it wouldn't necessarily, be strange if you had them with him. I mean, you're a bloodletter, you're a gang member. Well,
Jeremy goes, "Oh, man. The moment I see Eddie, I'm putting a bullet between his eyes. Let's not bandy words. Roll out those homeboys. We're going to wreck this party."
Jeremy.
Yes, pal?
I do believe that you suggested earlier on that leaving him alive would be better so that we can question him thoroughly.
"Oh, Eddie? Question Eddie?" And then he goes, "Oh yeah, I did say that. Yeah, you're right. We can't let him die too quickly. I'll shoot him in the kneecaps.
Yes.
Or maybe the balls,
Non-essential parts, yes.
Maybe the eyeballs. No, that would be lethal. I'm smart." And he has a nervous twitch and then smiles.
You do have a quite exceptional knowledge of the human anatomy.
Well, yeah. And he smiles broadly again. It's almost like you've turned his mind into a slavering mush, subject only to your whims. Kind of like that, yeah.
So much power in my fingertips.
Okay, so doing this. Let's do this.
Do this.
So we
So,
we
just
go
to
meet our
recap,
fates.
the plan is you're going to walk across the street, open the door, all cash-like, and then start shooting. With the
You know
Doberman
that
drones
there
in
are two
tow?
people guarding the door, right?
I mean, yes, because we had the fly drone.
Right? So that's your plan? Ping, are you going in person, or are you just sending your drones, as it were?
I will send the drone.
I mean, that sounds like a sensible idea.
Righty-ho then. So we get the dramatic montage of the loading ramp lowering and a pair of drones with AKs mounted on rattling out of a black van, and a trollish shaman pushing this. What was it? It was like a bin wagon. What do you call them? Dumpster out of the way of the alleyway, and then this troglodyte made of rock and earth with grass slicked hair oozing through, and you just like get the weird A-team, and then like Jeremy twitching and looking at his gun with a slaverish grin as W like is seen in shadow only behind him, and then we cut to the inside of the building. Ock, it's been a while since you sent your text, and your phone vibrates.
Okay.
There is a 3-word message going in loud, sent by Ping. What do you do?
He blows the nose horn.
Going in loud. I get the message. I start laughing, and I go to show the orc my phone. Look what my missus sent me.
Beaker like looks at you with a scowl, and then he moves in to take a look at the phone, like, and then you see about halfway through his scowl as he moves in closer, he gets like a little grin because he remembers your Mrs. Sahor, and he's like, oh, maybe I'm going to see something. And by the time he gets to you, he's gone from entirely unhappy to, oh yeah.
And I absolutely just smack him.
Right. So, if you could be so kind, Ock, as to roll an initiative, and let's get this party started.
Blase, quickly, just before we start, on the way, I want to cast armor on myself.
Oh,
because
could
having
you-
the spirit doesn't count as actually having a
yeah, if you
spell
could,
active.
if you could roll the magic for that. You have a trait, don't you? Focused concentration.
That's what I just wanted to figure out how that worked.
So if you cast it at a force below or equal to the rating of your focused concentration, you won't have to sustain it.
Also, Blase, as a heads
My
up,
focused
I'm
concentration is rating 1, so
Casting it at rating 1. Roll it.
which should give me an extra armor. So force rating 1.
Yep, go for it. You take 2 drain and you resist 2 drain. The spell is cast. Add 1
I now
armor
have-
to yourself for as long as you are conscious and choose to maintain this spell. Ping, you were about to say something?
don't know if it'll make much difference, but I now have changed the configuration of my RCC around so that it's running 2 programs and only has a negation to interference of 1.
Okay. The 2 programs for my reference are?
The 2 programs are evasion and weapon targeting.
Cool.
Specifically AK-47 targeting and Doberman maneuvering. Evasion.
Cool. Right then. So, Ock, you attack Beaker. Poor Beaker. Give me a second.
I love the fact that I now have 16 armor.
Cool.
16.
Oh, plus
Yeah.
3, plus
That's a
2.
lot, man.
Cool.
Oh yes.
So,
You wanna know how much armor I've got?
if you could,
8.
if you could be so,
24.
And this is
Nice.
why I have multiple drones.
if you could be so kind, Ok, as to select your token and roll an initiative.
Can I push it to the limit? To go first?
Would you like to
Push it to the
blitz?
limit.
If you blitz before you roll your initiative, you can have 5d6 rather than just having the max.
I want to blitz.
Okay, so click the edge button and roll your initiative, and we'll see if it rolls it correctly. So click on your
Spec
token.
Edge, right?
Yep, click on edge, click on your token, click
Where's that initiative? Where is it? Where is
physical
it?
initiative, down, past limits, damage, defense, and tracks.
Defense, damage tracks, limits, damage tracks, defense.
Initiative. Should be one called physical. Physical.
Let's get physical.
Yes. Woo! Boom, baby!
Right, now Beaker's going to roll a surprise. He is going to have a +1 for his nets on the judge intentions from previously. So a +1, it's really going to help him. Oh my god, he is not surprised. So, unfortunately, you still get 27 initiative. So, Ok, you bring your fist up towards him, and you see in an instant the scowl of Beaker returns, and he starts to cry out. What do you do, Ok?
Can I punch his throat so nothing comes out?
Would you like to make a cold shot?
Yes, how does that work?
You get a -4 on the attack, and if you succeed, it does a thing. I will find the reference for it.
And I'm using Killing Hands. Alright.
Now, cold shot, -4, and you want shake up. I think I would call this a shake up.
Right. -4. Boom, baby!
Oh man, that's a hefty 7 hits from you, and Beaker.
Whoops. That was with Edge. I am so sorry.
Oh, could you?
I'll spend the edge. I don't want this guy calling.
Fair enough. He's going to roll his defense. So he rolls his defense. No situational modifiers for him. He gets 2. So 5 versus 7 with 8 is 15 from you. So 15 damage coming his way. He's going to roll his soak. But bam! He soaks 6, so he takes 9. So what we see happen is you hit Beaker in the throat, and his larynx just collapses. He chokes out like an utterance, and you see his eyes go wild. You hit him for a hefty blow. On his turn, he responds by, like, you can see he's still trying to like gasp for air and cry out for help, but he just can't. His eyes are beginning to bulge. He grabs his blade at his belt, pulls out the short sword, and swings it in your direction. Please pay no attention to the fact that this is a clubs roll. Yeah.
Hey, Blage, that's a clubs roll?
Yeah.
I roll defense now, right?
You do
What is
indeed
it?
roll defense. Would you like to untick your edge before you use it all?
Yes. Is it? I do dodge or soak.
Dodge. Dodge is dodging, and soak is when you actually get hit.
Yay!
Right. So you get 1. So his strength is 7 plus 3 is 10 plus 1. He hits you for 11. Is there any AP? AP 2. So the sword hits you for 11 damage. AP 2. You cannot contest Beaker the Strong. So 7 successes knock it down to 4 damage, and because it is lower than your armor, you take that as stun. So take 4 stun damage, Ok. So he swings his sword at you, and it like skitters off your armor, thunking heavily into your ribs, bruising them. And then his initiative is out, and you still have another turn. What do you do, Orc?
Yay! Smack him!
Go for it.
Oh,
Cool.
what? That was so disappointing.
Cool. And he will obviously nimbly avoid your attack. 1 success, so you hit him for 10. He will nimbly soak it all, taking 0 hits. Yep. Actually, you get a -1 concurrently.
A -1 penalty each
I will
time
remember that
you
in the
dodge.
future. But that's enough to floor him. So what do you do? How do you kill him?
I kind of put my I don't know how to explain it. I just crushed the rest of his windpipe in. This is the
So
as I stick my fingers right through his through the hole, like bam! They stay stuck in his throat, like what? What punch?
One punch! Right, so Ock, as Beaker's crushed throat hits the ground with a thud, you hear the rumbling snore of the other conscious occupant, well, unconscious, but not, you know what I mean, sleeping occupant of this room. What do you do?
Can I kill him without waking him up?
Certainly.
Do I need to roll anything?
Yeah, roll sneaking.
Don't forget, he's asleep. Like, he's going to have negatives.
Depends on
Sneaky.
how heavily asleep he is. Although he just
Alright.
went through an entire fist fight
Woo!
without
Yeah!
As I said, he's going to have negatives because, like, he's asleep. And Rod successfully sneaked up to a sleeping man after a fist fight.
Cool. If you could tell me what your physical limit is.
What's that?
9. His physical limit is 9.
9?
Cool.
It says it on his roll above.
And what's your strength?
8. Yeah!
So 8 plus 9 is 17 damage. He will roll to resist 17 damage. 2 successes. You kill him in a single blood-curdling neck snap. You grab him, his eyes go wide, you pull him from his bunk and twist, your massive muscles bulging, the tattoos standing out against your popping veins, and then suddenly his body goes limp, slumping to the floor. You are
can
now...
also kill the unconscious one, if you can.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do next.
And then you proceed to finish off the 2 KOs.
Yes.
So that's 4 of the 11 dead already. We've got one
No,
with
5.
us.
That's 5 of the 11.
Oh yeah, 5 of the 11. Now we've got one mind controlled with us, so 6. So we actually now outnumber them.
I would like to apologize and take back any doubts I had for frontal assault.
Cool.
Well, it wasn't exactly a frontal assault. I did sneak in.
It was kind of like an infiltration. It was just like a really brutal infiltration, like a ballsy man infiltration. No sneaking.
I think what we did was we said, send in the one-man infiltration army.
Yeah. Jesus. New name for him. Bloody freaking 007.
What?
My mate just sent me a picture and it just says, if you can see it on the thing, it's a picture of Terry, what's his name? You know,
Terry
Old
Pratchett?
Spice guy.
No?
What's his last name? Terry...
Pratchett?
No, the Old Spice dude.
No idea.
Rod?
The Old Spice dude. I don't know.
Yeah. You know the really muscly.
Yeah.
Terry Crews.
Terry Crews. There's a picture of him in full like golden plate mail, and it just says, "When you stack all into strength and charisma." It's just a picture of him in full plate mail, golden plate mail, just smiling.
By any chance, does it at the end say, "You too can become the Emperor of Man"?
Let me check again, actually. No, it does not. I think what they did is they just put his face on, the Dragon Age guy, where he's wearing the silver.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that. But anyway, okay. So, Lando, we're going in?
Following Ok, you finish off the two men you bested outside the factory in short order. Their bodies falling to your depraved intentions. You're a bit beaten up by that orc beaker swinging his sword at you and taking a chunk out of your Kevlar vest. But regardless, you move towards the door, which leads to the entrance hall, and as though in perfect synchronization, it slides open. And now, refresh me on the plan here. The idea was to open the door all cash-like and then blow these guys away.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jeremy walks up to the door and starts to slide it open, right? You'll look as though you're ready?
Yes.
So if you could all be so kind as to click your initiatives and roll them. Ping, if you could roll initiatives for your two drones.
Yeah, I'm gonna hope that this works.
So,
And does Nick need to roll for his elemental?
I do, and I have a
do.
thing for that.
If you could be so kind as to do that.
Oh, 10.
He's going to turn physical now.
Cool. So the door slides open. Eddie the head.
Crying out loud. I've got two. I've got one at 13 and one at 20, and when I click the second one, it just rewrote them.
So just to confirm, your drones run on Matrix initiative? Not physical?
I just tried the initiative button that was under the drone.
Let me check that real quick.
Also, wait, it just instead of changing my initiative, it just
It should be piloting and something.
Drones acting autonomously have an initiative attribute of pilot rating ×2 and get 3d6. Yeah, no, that's correct.
Like Blage, you need to add a token for my Earth Elemental.
Yeah.
A pilot rating ×2 would be 6.
3d6 plus 6
would be 9. Which they haven't rolled. They've rolled 5.
So they're one higher.
No, they would be 4 higher.
They've rolled 5 and they would have 6.
No, then their pilot rating is 3.
3 times 2 is 6. They rolled a 5.
But it says and get 3d6?
And 3d6, which they have rolled.
Okay.
Cool. And then Elemental.
There's actually a thing where I can have this one is named Urka.
Cool. So 14 and
Elemental! My Elemental had 9.
9. Cool. Right. So, I think that's you all. Ping, if you could roll your physical meat space initiative. It might not be necessary. Ok, you need to roll initiative 2.
Guys, please don't shoot me.
We're not gonna
a different way. I came in through a different way. No way there's.
I shoot Ok. My chance is big. Now is the time, brother, to die.
Do. Initiatives are fun. Woo!
Here we go. Yay.
Wow, your initiative's shit.
Yes, I know. Why'd you think I used Edge?
Cool. So, Jeremy slides open the door, and you see Eddie the Head go, "Sup, Jer?" And about halfway through that sentence, the 3 people beyond the door realize this is not standard procedure. Normally, doors aren't opened with Jeremy raising his gun at Eddie and a pair of Doberman drones with machine guns going doot, and a giant rock man and a troll. I mean, it doesn't take too many brain cells to rub together that this is not standard fare. Mayhem breaks out in short order. So first things first, a surprise roll from the poor individuals. Frank, that's the tall lanky one, which showed Ock where to sleep. Surprise.
How many of them are there?
Just the
just
three.
a-
So he is surprised. No surprise there. The other gang member, he is not surprised. Good for him. So Frank is surprised, so he has 0. Good. And finally, Eddie. Eddie the Head. Eddie the Head. Do 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 do. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's going to be great. He's going to pass. And he is not surprised. Cool. So one of the gang members is taken completely by surprise and subsequently has no actions this turn. The others are already guns in motion. However, that doesn't stop the fact that they're human. Drones, however, go first. So, ping. The door opens, and your drones have a panoply of targets. What instructions had you given them?
To target anything that does not have red beard.
So they immediately spin round and shoot Bartholomew. No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So Drone 2 opens up on one of the gangers at random, opening up fire on Frank. If you could roll a attack for Drone 2.
Which I believe is the weapon targeting.
Should be a pilot plus weapon targeting, I believe.
I believe so. Let's hope that this works. Because so far I am not impressed with the vehicle section of this spreadsheet. Right. Okay, that just didn't straight up roll.
I'm not seeing anything there.
So piloting plus weapon?
Pilot plus targeting auto soft. Yep. Rated by the weapon's accuracy. Are they firing single, burst, full auto?
Burst.
Cool. Do they have recoil equal to their body or something, don't they?
Yeah.
Right. Cool.
Which is 4.
So, fire up Drone 2's shots.
So it'd be 5d6? Yeah.
Yeah, seems correct. 1 hit.
1 net.
Ha 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 ha! Frank easily, nimbly dodges out of the way. Actually, was Frank... No, Frank was surprised. Never mind. He gets opened up by bullets, having no chance to move out of the way before he is hit by the AK-97. What's the damage?
The damage on the AK is 10.
10 plus 1
AP
for your
minus
hit.
2.
AP minus 2. So he's taking 11 AP minus 2. So 4 successes means he takes 5.
Damn, you guys do a lot of damage.
Says you.
Cool. So you see him get hit by a bullet. The jacket he's wearing seems to absorb some of the impact, but nevertheless blood trickles out and fear grips his eyes. Drone number 2.
Target's the exact same guy.
Roll it up.
Same thing.
1 hit. He'll roll to absorb damage. He's taking 11 AP2. 4 successes, 5 damage. So the drones open up with a trio of short bursts, and Frank goes, "Ah!" before splattering against the far wall, a corpse.
Good start.
So that's 3 bullets from each of them, yeah?
Yep. Jinxter, the door opens, and you see some gang folk who look in a spot of wee bother.
So I command. So this isn't an action, but I say I want my Earth Elemental to secure the red bearded guy. Like, I want him to just make sure he doesn't go anywhere.
Yep, no problem.
And like grapple him, make sure he can't do anything.
I mean,
and
you
then
gave him
there's-
engulf.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's one other guy now, isn't there?
Yep,
I acid stream him.
sure thing. Pick force of your spell.
Let's go for force 4.
Cool. Roll your spellcasting plus magic for acid stream. You have succeeded with 3 successes. You have 2 drain incoming, which you resist all of. He is going to dodge nimbly out of the way of your baleful attack. So here we go. 2 successes versus 1. So you hit him for a total of 5 damage at AP 4. And it is acid. Wonderful. So AP 4, 5 damage. He resists 2 of it. So he takes 3 points of damage. And it is acid, which I believe does additional effects, which I'll just find real quick. It reduces the rating of any armor it hits by 1, and each combat the base damage of the acid is decreased by 1 and applied again. So he is acid splodged, and it's going to just continue to eat away at him. So you open the door. One of the guys gets hailed down by drone gunfire. You fling a beam of acid at this person. He screams as it hits it on his clothing, and it begins to melt through the acrylic red jacket.
Cinematically, can it be I spat it at him?
Yeah, sure.
Like, I just went, and it was like a bullet of acid.
Yep. Ping. Suitably a safe distance from the firefight, do you have any meat space actions you wish to perform?
I am going to command my drones to target the next victim.
Very well. The drones follow your instructions. Eddie the head, seeing the fucking door open and a spray of gunfire, Eddie the head does the smart thing. Fucking legs it further into the factory. He runs away and slams through the door into the factory floor, closing it behind him. With a resounding thudum. Jeremy points his gun at the other ganger and squeezes the trigger. Bam, ba-dam, bam, ba-dam, bam, bam. Equipment, attacks. Bow. No modifier. Actually, this guy will have... so, Jeremy shoots, scores 3 successes with a damage value of 8 for 11 damage. The thug attempts to dodge out of the way. He's already been attacked once, so he has a -1. And I believe he's injured, so he has a minus... hang on. He has 3 injuries, and he has a -1 for being attacked once already. So he gets 1 success, taking 10 points of damage at AP -1, but he also has -1 to his armor from the acid. So he gets 5 successes, knocking him down another 5 points of health. Cool. So Jeremy opens up, fires at this dude, hits him with a bullet, blood sprays everywhere, the acid shatters onto the ground, and the elemental has its turn. It surges forward and attempts to destroy the door which now stands between you and Eddie. If you could roll a strength from the earth elemental, please. Strength plus, I don't know, like melee or something, or just roll an attack. That'll do the job.
Strength plus body?
Yeah, that works. Then I need to
what's
find...
the limit? Physical?
Yeah. I'm happy with that. 3 successes. Here we go, barriers. 4 plus 6, okay. 10d6 greater than 5. The door resists the assault of the Earth Elemental, and you can see it breaking and bending underneath the assault.
I also give it the command to, once he's captured him, to bring him back. So that's, I'm assuming the 2 tasks is capture the guy, or is that part of the first task?
I mean, your task is capture him. He'll simply capture him and hold him.
Okay, so capture him, and then the second task is return to me once that is done.
So, fun thing, the thug would now go, but because he's taken damage, his initiative is reduced by his wound modifier, meaning that Bartholomew, you're next. Bartholomew, what do you do?
I ensure that I still have line of sight with Jeremy.
You do?
Can I get half-assed into cover and while keeping eye contact and try not to get shot?
Yeah, sure thing, buddy.
There's no one shooting.
Because I checked my character sheet and I have no combat skills whatsoever.
I know, it's wonderful.
Combat abilities.
You're also operating at a -3 on everything currently because you're sustaining a spell and you have taken injury.
It's a minus. Oh yeah, it's a -2 from the spell and a -1.
No, Leo, you misunderstand. Jeremy is your combat abilities.
Holy crap! Oh my god!
Jeremy is your combat.
Basically, Leo, what you are doing right now is like me using a drone.
Yeah, you're just using a
Just
meat
yours is
drone.
flesh and blood, mine is metallic.
Well, my drone is disposable anyways.
Have you guys noticed how our 3 main damage dealers in terms of the magic? Oh no, I use spirits as a drone. Chris uses mechanical drones, and Leo just summons or just controls people with his mind. None of us actually specialize in fighting ourselves.
Yeah, except for Rod.
Excuse
Apart
me?
from Rod, but Rod's like the magic punchy guy.
The magic punchy guy.
We've got essentially the tank and then 3 necromancers of various abilities.
Cool. So, Bartholomew, you stick yourself into cover and keep eye line with Jeremy. Meanwhile,
Can I also prepare the action that if he moves out of my line of sight that I follow, so I can have him in my line of sight?
I will assume that you keep pace with him while maintaining in cover. Cool. The remaining ganger starts his turn by taking acid damage. Yay! Let's see if we can burn him to death. So he will roll soak at -1 from his armor being damaged by an acid spell, -4 for the force of the acid spell, so -5 versus a strength 4 attack, the base damage of the acid. He takes 2 damage, which sends him over the edge. So you see him reach for his gun, horrified as he sees Eddie moving, and as he moves up, the acid finishes burning its way through his armor, reaches his chest, and he just screams uncontrollably in pain as you see his chest decompose rapidly. You see the fatal beats of his heart before it bursts out of his chest in a vitriolic shower of bile, and his husk falls to the floor, lying on the cold concrete as the cards from their game spiral out of control as the drones just go.
Wow,
So,
what a whitewash.
he's dead. Ok, it's your turn. You're on the other side of the door, and you hear the going loud that they mentioned as the staccato of 2 triple tap bursts echo from the entrance hall of the factory. What do you do?
Is Eddie coming through the door to me?
You see a door closed in front of you. On the other side, you hear the staccato of 3 triple shot gunfires. I would have not failed to mention a person running through the door.
And a single shot from Eddie?
Nah. Jeremy's gunfire.
And a man screaming in pain as his flesh is consumed by the vitriolic poison that is the evil of this world.
Or Jinxter.
Yeah.
I open the door ever so slightly, and kind of like, hello.
You open the door a crack, and you see a trio of Bloodletter gang members, one of which is pointing a gun at the corpses of two other gang members. Eddie the Head is nowhere to be seen, and Bartholomew, Jinxter are playing in sight with a duo of drones and a elemental spirit. The scene is immediately read that the ganger, Jeremy, is on the side of your team. What do you do?